So, today we're talking about one of the most ambitious and, controversial projects in recent memory, Akon City. It was pitched as a real-life Wakanda right there in Senegal, a futuristic pan-African dream. But years after that huge announcement, the dream seems to have hit a very, very harsh reality. Let's get into it.
First, you gotta start with the price tag. $6 billion. That's a B. That's the number that just blew up headlines everywhere. It promised this incredible smart city with soaring skyscrapers, a top-tier hospital, and an economy running on its very own crypto. I mean, a number that huge, it just creates these massive, massive expectations.
But fast forward to today, and this is the feeling on the ground. A local villager said it better than anyone could. Akon said he was building a city. All we got was dust. And that right there, that one sentence just perfectly captures the huge gap between that $6 billion promise and the empty field that's there now.
So what does a $6 billion city actually look like 5 years down the line? Well, right now, it's a field of dust. Let's take a hard look at the reality as it stands in 2025.
If you were to visit the site near the village of Mabodiin today, this is what you'd see. Basically, a huge, undeveloped, dusty field. There's a single signboard that's still standing, some early fencing, and a few pieces of rusted metal just sitting there. There's been so little happening that the locals have started calling it the Ghost Project.
But look, to really get why this is so disappointing for so many, we've got to rewind the clock. Let's go all the way back to 2020, back when this Wakanda dream really felt like it was just about to happen.
That year, 2020, was just a total whirlwind. Imagine this. Akon is standing there side by side with top Senegalese officials, which gave the whole thing a huge stamp of approval. He's unveiling these incredible, dazzling blueprints for this futuristic utopia. And of course, the global media, everyone from Forbes to CNN, they just ate it up. The excitement was electric, and investors started getting very, very interested.
And the message behind it all was so powerful. See, Akon wasn't just selling a city, he was selling a movement. He was talking about economic freedom, about a true homecoming for the African diaspora. This idea, that Africa needs to be built by us, for us. Man, that was a vision of pride that just resonated with people all over the world.
And a vision that powerful, it pulls in passionate believers. But as the years ticked by with absolutely no progress, that belief started to sour. And for many, it's turned into a deep sense of betrayal. This is where we talk about the human fallout.
Take Mamadou Diaya. He's a local resident who actually got hired for a little bit of the early land clearing work. His words really show you that journey from hope to, well, ridicule. The promise wasn't just some abstract idea for them. It was about real jobs, real opportunities that, in the end, just never showed up.
And that feeling of disappointment isn't just local. This quote comes from an American investor named Jason Thompson, and it really shows you the anger from people who put up serious money. He claims he invested over $200,000. For him, what felt like a movement now feels like something much darker, a scheme that he believes used the very idea of African pride to reel people in.
I mean, when you just put the promise right next to the reality, the difference is just staggering. On one side, you've got this incredible dream. Luxury skyscrapers, a high-tech hospital, a music district, a beachfront resort, all running on a custom crypto called Akon. And then, on the other side, what's actually there? A dusty field, a lonely sign, some rusted metal, the nickname Ghost Project, and that crypto token? It just never got the traction it needed to work. The disconnect is just wild.
So what on earth went wrong? Well, for that, we have to turn to Akon's side of the story, to his defense and the official explanation for all these years of delays.
In a bunch of different interviews, Akon has pushed back hard against any accusation that this is a scam. He asks this question directly, arguing that his whole identity, his whole brand, is built on uplifting Africa, not ripping it off. He tries to frame the delays not as some kind of failure, but just as a massive challenge inside a vision that he says is, frankly, bigger than him.
So the official reasons given really point to a perfect storm of problems. First, you had the COVID-19 pandemic, which, let's be fair, brought the entire world to a standstill. Then they say there were unexpected delays in getting all that financing secured. And on top of all that, there's just the massive complexity of trying to build a futuristic city from absolute scratch. So the message from Akon and his team is basically a plea for patience.
And all this brings us to the central debate, right? The big question that hangs over everything. Was Akon City the project of a true visionary who just got completely overwhelmed? Or was it something else entirely?
This critique from an urban planner, Amadou Ba, I think really captures that skeptical viewpoint perfectly. He basically argues that this whole thing was a masterclass in marketing, in media, in selling a story that people wanted to believe, but that it lacked the boring fundamental groundwork, like, say, a real construction plan or money actually in the bank, that you need to actually build something.
So really, it all boils down to these two competing ideas. On one hand, maybe it was a genuinely overambitious dream that just got crushed by real-world problems like a pandemic and financial red tape. But on the other hand, there's the theory that maybe this was a more calculated thing, that it used celebrity and a powerful message to get attention and money without ever having a serious plan to build.
And so, at the end of the day, we're left with this one unavoidable question. After all the promises, all the pain, the incredible vision, and the empty void, is Akon City a revolutionary dream that just needs a little more time? Or is it a very costly illusion that was built on nothing but dust? Thanks for joining The Explainer.